Alright, in this video I'm going to do a review of some of the concepts you should have learned in IT 106. And in particular I'm going to be talking about arrays. So I'm going to go ahead here in my JGrasp and I'm going to create a new Java class. Public class blah. Okay, and I am going to initialize some arrays. So I don't know if you remember how to initialize arrays. There's several different ways you can do it. I'll make an array of integers. So the first way would be to just do it like this. So I have int and then the square brackets, my variable name, and then I do new int, and then let's say I want to make it the size 5. Then I do a sub 0 equals 1. Well, maybe instead of 1 I'll use a better number. So let's say 4. A sub 1 equals 99, etc. Okay, so I could go ahead and fill up this A array. I guess I'll just go ahead and finish doing that real quick. Okay, 12, and I'm just making up random numbers here. 16. Okay, so there we go. So that's one way to do it. All right. Another way is I could say int b, and then I can use the curly braces and just do like 4, 99, 7, 12, 16. Okay, and so they're both equally valid. All right, now I don't have to necessarily just use integers. I could also use strings. So I could have string c equals, and then I could have foo bar baz blah, whatever. Okay. All right, so now I've got some arrays to deal with. Okay. Now, let's just make sure I haven't made any syntax errors. So I'll go ahead and press this green plus sign to compile. I'm using the JGrasp editor, IDE. Okay, so it wants me to save the file. And you'll see here that it compiled and didn't give me any errors. All right, so great. So now I have this variable A that has these numbers. I've got the variable B that has the same numbers as A. And I have this variable C. Let's go ahead and make this one the same size, just to 0. Okay. All right, so now, suppose that I was to say, all right, you need to write a loop that will go through and print out everything inside of A. Okay, well, so the way you're going to want to do that, int I equals 0, I is less than a dot length, I plus plus. Okay, and then I could do system.out.print, and then we'll just do a sub I. And then I'll just add in a space here so that the numbers don't all run together. And then maybe outside of my loop, I can do a system.out.println just to put an empty space at the end. Okay, so let's try that. If I compile this, okay, and sure enough, you see we got the 4, 99, 7, 12, 16, okay? All right, so that's how I can loop through and print everything out. Now, let's say that instead of just printing everything out, let's say that I wanted to print out just the numbers that are greater than, just the numbers that are greater than 10, okay? Well, then I could add in an if condition. So I could say if a sub I is greater than 10, then I'm going to go ahead and do my printing. Okay, and in this case I don't need an else condition, because if it's greater than 10 I'm going to print it, otherwise I'm just not going to do anything. Okay, so I should be able to compile this and run it, and sure enough I get just the 99, the 12, and the 16. It skips the 4 and the 7. Okay. All right, so now to make things a little bit more complicated, suppose that I wanted to figure out what the smallest, instead of smallest, let's do largest. I want to figure out the largest number in this array, okay? Well, so one way that I could do it is I could say, all right, I'm going to start with a number. I'll call it largest, and I'm going to set it to whatever the first value in my array is. So in this case, I'll make it a sub 0, okay? And then when I loop through my array, I can basically do a check and say, all right, if the current one that I'm on is greater than largest, okay, then I can erase this because I don't need this anymore, okay? If the current array value that I'm on is greater than largest, then go ahead and replace largest with whatever that value is, okay? And so, in other words, it'll go through and it'll say, all right, largest is currently 4, and so I start at 0. I probably could just start at 1 here, but I'll start at 0 and say, all right, is 4 greater than 4? No. All right, is 99 greater than 4? Yes. So largest is now going to be set to 99, okay? And then I go to the next one and say, all right, is 7 greater than 99? No. Is 12 greater than 99? No. Is 16 greater than 99? No. So when I get through this entire loop, 99 will be saved in this variable largest as my largest value. Okay, so I should be able outside here to say the largest number is, and then just do plus largest. All right, and that should, if I haven't made any mistakes, prints out the largest number is 99. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Now, suppose that I said, all right, I would like you to print out, well, let me think here. Suppose that I was to say, all right, I'm going to give you two arrays that are parallel to each other. All right, so let me just go ahead and go down here and I'll say, all right, so we're going to have one array, we're going to have states. So we'll have states equals, then we'll have Virginia, Maryland, Tennessee, and Utah. Okay. And then we'll have a variable called number of COVID cases. All right. And so let's say in Virginia there's 1,000, maybe in Maryland there's 3,200. I don't actually know what these numbers are. Tennessee, let's say there's only 409, and in Utah, let's say that there are, I don't know, 800. Okay. All right. So the implication here is that these data values, the 1,000 and all this, match with the state. So in other words, Virginia has 1,000 COVID cases, Maryland has 3,200, Tennessee. All right, so this is what we call parallel arrays. All right, and later on in this course, we're going to see why this is a terrible idea and why you should never do this. But, okay, suppose I was to say, all right, given this information here, tell me the state that has the highest number of COVID cases. Okay, how would you do that? All right, well, again, we could use this same kind of loop construct. So for int I equals 0. And in this case, we're going to be looping through the number of COVID cases array. Length, I++. Okay. And now what we need to do is we need to, just like before, we need to save a value that has the highest number. Okay. So we will create an integer called highest. Okay. And we're going to set it equal to number of COVID cases 0. Okay. And now we'll say if number of COVID cases sub I is greater than highest, okay, then we're going to set highest equal to number of COVID cases sub I. Okay, now all right, so we could do that, and if we were to run through this at the end, we would say, all right, well, the highest number is 3,200. Okay, but that's not the information that we need. What we need is the state that has the highest. So really, in addition to keeping track of the number of the highest, we need to keep track of the index, whether we're in position 0, 1, 2, or 3, right? Okay, so let's create another variable. We'll call this index, okay? And we'll set this equal to 0. All right. And so now, if we say that the number of COVID cases is greater than the highest, not only are we going to set the highest equal to this, but we're going to set index equal to I. Okay. So wherever we are in this loop, okay, in other words, I is going to be looping from 0, 1, 2, 3. Wherever we are in this loop, okay, we're going to save that index value of I into this variable index, okay? And that will correspond to with whatever the highest is. So the first time through, highest will be 1,000 and index will be 0, okay? Then we'll go to the next position and say, all right, is 3,200 greater than the highest, which is currently 1,000? Yes, it is. So now we're going to reset highest to 3,200, and we're going to set index to this position, which is position 1. Okay? If we do that, when we get to the end here, we can say system.out.println the highest number of COVID is plus highest. Okay, and we can say dot println the position is, okay, and then put in index. All right, so if I were to run this, hopefully I haven't made any typos, and I haven't. Okay, you will see that the highest number of COVID is 3,200 and the position is 1, so 0, 1. All right, if I were to change this data, and let's say I added one in here, let's say I put in Vermont, VT, okay, and over here at the end, I'm going to make this a really high number, 99999, okay. Now if I were to compile and run this again, you will see that it says now the highest number is 99999 and the position is 4, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we can now use that position to tell us the state that is the highest. So we can say system.out.println the state with the highest is, and we'll do states, which is this variable right here, and then we'll do index like that. All right, so we should be able to compile this and run it, and it says the highest number of COVID is 9999, position is 4, the state with the highest is Vermont, VT. Okay, so we're using that saved index position to know where in the array the highest position is. Okay, so you should be able to use that information in order to get through the lab 0 this week. All right, if you have any questions, make sure you get with a TA or send me an email or post something in the discussion board. But make sure that you understand how to do this because we're going to be moving on to other topics very quickly.